I root for Elizabeth Warren because she's scrappy, she's fierce.
I like the woman that she is, so sometimes I don't agree with everything.
I think she's a great candidate. She's a feisty woman.
I'm very proud that we have someone like her running for president.
I am definitely on the spectrum with Elizabeth Warren and Bernie. I am really on the far left, but I will support anybody who is nominated by the Democratic Party. Let me be clear.
Cambridge, Massachusetts is one of the oldest cities in America. At one point, it was home to some of the world's biggest candy factories. It's also home to Harvard, the oldest university in the country, founded in 1636. It's here where Elizabeth Warren, a former Republican, became a left-leaning Democrat. Warren arrived in 1995 to join the Harvard Law School faculty. For much of its existence, Cambridge has consisted of two contrasting sides.
You have Harvard University, you have MIT, you have the collegiate part, then you have the part that I grew up in, which is the working man's Cambridge.
Cambridge inhabits a mere 7 square miles outside Boston, alongside the Charles River. Much of the city has a charming old world feel. A jumble of red brick buildings and narrow, winding streets, public squares wedged between thoroughfares, and 2- and 3-story homes crammed together in tree-lined neighborhoods.
It's a nice and quiet town. There's some very good architecture and some very bad architecture.
It's a wonderful place to be, or to live, to raise a family.
Cambridge is one of the most welcoming places you're going to find in the U.S.
We have a huge innovation, I think, outside of San Francisco. This is where tech companies want to be.
The source of Cambridge's wealth is Kendall Square. 13 of the top 20 global pharmaceutical companies are residents here, along with Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Google. They account for nearly a third of Cambridge's massive $638 million budget.
We have biomedical institutions that are solving world problems. We have startup organizations that are making technology work in ways that we haven't seen it before. But with that comes displacement of individuals who have been here and built the city to make it desirable for those orgs to come into town.
The population, which peaked in 1950, is rapidly growing again, but the Black and Asian populations are shrinking.
The appearance of the city culturally and racially is changing.
As the city becomes more expensive to live in, what we're seeing is less diversity. People are moving out, and people can't afford to stay here.
Warren needn't venture far from her white-trimmed 1890s Victorian to see the economic struggles and income inequality at the core of her White House bid. While about 80% of Cambridge's 120,000 residents have bachelor or advanced degrees, more than half the population still struggles to find affordable housing.
We can't have the extremes of poverty and the extremes of wealth. Can't have a city where there's just Teslas driving around.
People that have worked and grown up in Cambridge now can't afford a house in Cambridge. They make too much to be in, lower income housing, and they don't make enough to actually buy a house.
Local landmarks are being torn down or snapped up by wealthy investors with an eye on more lucrative use. But few cities have as much money and brainpower as Cambridge to throw at those challenges. For all its sophistication, Cambridge in some ways remains a village. Warren remains a friendly and familiar face around town, despite her lack of local political involvement.
I was walking my dog around Fresh Pond, and there she was with her husband and her dog, and had her hat on, sunglasses. She was, probably going for a walk to relieve some stress like we all do.
My friends have seen her, in shopping markets and Whole Foods and other places. I've seen her at a volunteering event that we do every year.
A lot of people that would never have come into Patty's, a lot of people that are the first ones to report us because of different things, and now they found out, does Elizabeth Warren really come in there, Ruth? And I'm like, well, you've never really talked to me before, but yeah.
Cambridge is a bubble, and many here know it.
We do a lot here that a lot of cities aren't able to do, and it goes back to the resources we have.
A lot of what she's talking about on the national stage really is localized here. It would be great to have representation with Elizabeth Warren as the first female president of the United States.